Hey, you're watching Rapid MMA. This is going to be a quick video. We're going to skip over a whole bunch of the little details of this fight, but that's how these videos go when we get closer to the fight card. So let's talk about the glaring and obvious factor, and that's Khabib's wrestling versus Johnson's stand-up. What we're curious about is if Johnson can get the upset in this fight because Khabib has been on a tear. He's 23-0, and his wrestling is good. It's very, very good. Michael Johnson has great speed. He has decent footwork and good power. He's not a bad wrestler himself, but when he does get taken down, he gets held down. And again, I don't think his wrestling is bad. He can stuff takedowns, he can transition, and he can get takedowns, but it's my opinion his jiu-jitsu may be lacking. From what we've seen, he doesn't have much of a guard game. I think Michael Johnson will want to stay away from Khabib, away from the ground, away from the clinch. So to do this, he'll need to be very aware of what strikes he uses, when to use them, and where to use them. So in other words, shot selection, range. Khabib is difficult to deal with because he charges forward swinging wild punches, and his opponents have not much of a choice but to defend and back away, and therefore they give up space and therefore giving up mobility, and that means getting grappled. Johnson will want to use a lot of feints, a lot of side-to-side movement, and the right amount of pressure. Southpaw versus Orthodox makes it easier for Khabib to step in and grab the leg. Perfect example is Khabib's most recent fight against Darrell Horcher. Also look for Alvarez to do this on McGregor, Weidman on Romero, Woodley on Thompson. Last point to make, and this goes for Alvarez versus McGregor and Woodley versus Thompson. Khabib, Alvarez, and Woodley all have a huge key advantage in this fight, and that's the threat of their wrestling. So level changes, takedown feints, are going to play a huge role. When they feint a takedown or level change and their opponent reacts, they'll usually or sometimes drop their hands, and this is an opportunity for them to come up high and land strikes, kicks, or punches combinations. Make them think low and come up high. It's kind of the reverse of what wrestlers do. They'll attack high, they'll try to get their opponent's guard up so they can get in deep on the hips. This is especially true for Khabib because his wrestling is such an obvious advantage. He's undefeated, plus his striking is wild. He can use both of those opportunities to attack his opponent. He can fake high, go low with a takedown, or fake low and come up high with strikes. Mobility while keeping pressure on Khabib will be key for Johnson here, and he's very good at doing that. I do think if Johnson gets taken down, it's likely Khabib's round because I don't think Johnson will be able to get back up unless his guard has vastly improved. And a bonus factor here is this is the second time Henry Hooft, the head coach over at Black Zillions, will be preparing for Khabib. The first was Abel Trujillo when he fought Khabib, and the second time here with Michael Johnson. And I think that's very important to note. Michael Johnson is a tough fight for anyone on the feet, so let's see if he can keep it there, because if he can, we're going to see Khabib have a really tough fight, and if not, it's going to be a tough night for Johnson.